This segment is brought to you by Jigmaster Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com and use promo code PNF20 and save 20% off your next jig order today.
Welcome back to Off the Water. I'm your host, JP. Today, we're taking a trip up to La Crosse, Wisconsin. We're going to be talking about the mighty Mississippi River and the Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa area in which pools 7, 8, and 9 encompass. Our guest today is Jeremiah Burish. He is the head travel commission with Explore La Crosse. Not only is he that, he's also a talented kayak angler who knows how to pull some money when it comes to competitions up that way, and a really good person to be around when you're up in La Crosse. So without any further ado, welcome, Jeremiah.
Hey man, how's it going? Thanks for having me. Super excited to be here, talk La Crosse and some fishing. Two of the greatest things on earth, I think.
Oh man, you ain't kidding. You know, we first met for the Trail Series Championship back in October, and I never really knew 4 hours away that La Crosse was in my backyard like that, and I can't wait to get back up there. There's so much to do and explore.
Yeah, no question. La Crosse is just kind of a big small town, and the whole region is kind of that way. It's everything is close. You're never more than a few minutes from a launch to get on the river or any of the backwaters or anything like that. And then the restaurants, the dining, everything else is it's phenomenal, and ton of stuff to do if you like the outdoors, the recreation, outdoor recreation, the trails, the everything. I mean, it's a phenomenal place. It really is. And if you've ever visited, you know what I'm talking about. It's just kind of it's a special place. It's not like the rest of, Wisconsin or the Midwest. It's called the Driftless region. We have the beautiful limestone bluffs that overlook the Mississippi River and the valleys and the river valleys and all the different, tributaries and everything. It's just really gorgeous, and it's kind of just like stepping back in time, when you kind of see this area, because it's not really, like I said, it's not like the rest of the Midwest where it's a little flatter, rolling hills. I mean, this is kind of Ozarks type of feel, and it's just beautiful, and it's just there's a ton to do, and it's a paradise.
Yeah, and you hit it on the head. And for our listeners who've never been to La Crosse, it really does put you back. If anybody here has read Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn, man, that's how I feel. That's how I felt when I went up to La Crosse and was, poking around. It's literally what you had imagined when you read that book is how La Crosse is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's Mark Twain wrote about it and says it's a choice place, and it's just, we actually have a Tom Sawyer's and a Huck Finn's restaurant right here on the river. That they're two restaurants right next to each other, and it's kind of the same thing. It just is. You're absolutely right. That's exactly that kind of feel is really what it's like here.
So let's talk a little bit about yourself, Jeremiah. How long
Sure.
have you what are you in right now?
Sorry, you cut out on me there, Jason. I didn't catch what you said there. Kind of lagging on me a little bit in general.
So how long have you been kayak fishing, and what vessel are you in?
Sure. So I started in 2017. I brought up a kayak bass fishing trail event to La Crosse, and Chad came in, and I took him out the day before the tournament. I had never actually kayak fished, to be honest with you, and I wasn't planning on fishing that tournament or anything else, and just had it scheduled here. And I took Chad out the day before to get some filming done, and we had a great time. Caught a lot of fish, a lot of topwaters, a lot of frog fishing, Senkos on laydowns, things like that, and just caught an unreal amount of fish, and just had a great time. And afterwards and stuff, and I just kind of asked him, I was like, is it conflict of interest if I fish this tournament? I mean, like, I don't want to, make anybody mad or do anything like that. And he's like, no, man, go ahead. I got an extra kayak you can use. I was like, well, I got a skiff, my buddy's skiff that I can use. And he's like, well, no, you can't. At the time, you couldn't use those, or I still don't think you can actually use a skiff technically. But anyway, I couldn't use that. So I was like, all right, I guess I will use your kayak, and kind of learned real fast how to fish a tournament. That first tournament, I finished in third in that event, and actually qualified for the national event down at Kentucky Lake the following March, and kind of just jumped in both feet after that. So that was in August of 2017. I fished that one tournament that year, and then a couple tournaments in 18, including the national championships, where I went down and learned real fast that not every fishery is the same, and the Kentucky Lake showed me what's up. I mean, that was a total learning trip, 2 days, and I registered one fish, so that was tough days. But
ledge fishing at its best.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that was crazy times. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but the water was like at record highs, and then they dropped it like insane amounts to below their winter pool. And in March, and those fish were about ready to spawn, and then they just moved way back out. And me being as new as I was in the kayak, I wasn't ready to go out deep finding ledges and things like that. I was going to fish shallow and try to find some fish, and I really struggled doing that. I did have one spot that I thought we would do well on, but they were all small fish, real small fish. And I wish we would have went there on day one, because the water went up just a few inches, and it was kind of the big sandy area. And the guy that was in second had went to that spot, so was the right choice. I just second guessed ourselves and wish we would have went there then. But that's all right. Learn from it, man. It was a great experience, and just kind of been hooked ever since. And it's just a ton of fun. Been doing more and more tournaments every year, and having a little bit of success, which is fun, and kind of upgraded. I'm paddling a bona fide SS127 now. Love it. Absolutely incredible vessel. There's a lot of great vessels out there, but that one fits me. Like I said, I'm a shallow water angler. I fish in inches of water a lot of times. Like I tell everybody all the time, if my paddle's not touching on every stroke, it's too deep. And I mean it. I fish shallow, and so that works for me. It's a high seat. It's super stable, so I can stand up, throwing in really heavy vegetation, things like that. And so it's just a sturdy platform, and lightweight, easy to jump, from launch to launch during the tournament days or anything like that if you're going to move. And so I love it. But again, everybody's different, but that one is absolutely perfect for me.
Cool. Now let's bust out the question of all questions. What is your PB bass out of La Crosse?
Out of La Crosse was actually at the Challenge Championships last year. I caught a 20-incher on day two. Actually, I set 3 PBs during that tournament. I caught a 19 and a half in literally the waning seconds of day one to get about a 4.5-inch upgrade on day one. And then day two, I caught a 20-incher, and then I was actually kind of going to paddle back and hit a second spot and relaunch and hit a second spot, like with an hour and a half remaining. And on my paddle back towards the boat, or to the truck, I was pitching up into some area with the swim jig, and I caught another 19 and a half. And I said, I think I'll stay here. So I stayed there and fished out the rest of the day, and I didn't end up upgrading anymore, but it was good enough to finish me where I did, and that was second and third in those 2 events that were run conjunction. So yeah, that was those 3 actually. I just caught a 19 and a half on Monday of last week also to get up there, but just the 120-incher. The Mississippi River's got a lot of phenomenal fish, a lot of fish that are the same size in that 2.5, 3-pound range. A lot of 16 and a half, 17 and a half, 18s are more difficult to come by, but you find them pretty prevalent. But man, those 19, 19 and a half, 20s, they're tough to come by on the Mississippi River. They're there. You just really gotta search them out and find them, and they're just a little more difficult. So I've seen bigger, like Tyler Cole caught 21 and a quarter last year during that tournament. That was a hog.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a monster on the Mississippi River. That thing is so long. So and I've seen some, when the Bassmasters have been here and some other big events have been here. I've seen some absolute toads brought out of the Mississippi River, but they're fewer and far between. That's for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. And not only between our event that we had up there, but looking back on when Bassmasters was here, when Latimer put on a clinic with the frog.
Oh yeah,
there's just a lot of fish to be had in that area. So that dives into the next topic we're going to talk about. Let's talk about the Mississippi itself. The fishery of the Mississippi. If not, for us, we're bass fishermen, but there's such a diverse range of fish in that river system. Let's talk about what we can catch throughout the seasons as the year goes on for people looking to go up to La Crosse.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Mississippi River is one of the most diverse river systems. Freshwater, it is the most diverse freshwater system in the North America, I believe. Don't quote me on the U.S. for sure, but I believe it's North America. It has 100. We have 119 species in the Mississippi River. And so I mean, whatever you're after, it's virtually here. The only exceptions are you'd still find around this area that aren't in this system are like lake trout and salmon. Virtually everything else is in these systems. There's just, if you're a walleye guy, it's an incredible walleye fishery. Giant northerns and more northerns than you could ever count. If I had a northern day if it was a tournament the other day, I mean, I would have just absolutely demolished them. And they took quite a few of my frogs. They're toothy critters that like that, but just incredible northern fishery, big pike everywhere, fun to catch. The pan fishing is incredible, big slabs for bluegills and crappies and jumbo perch, which are phenomenal in the spring and the fall. And of course, ice fishing. I mean, there's a few videos out there now that's really kind of starting to let that secret out that the jumbo perch on the Mississippi River and those backwaters are second to none. Even the people at Devil's Lake, which is an incredible fishery too, and a great jumbo perch factory. But we're right on par, if not even excelling in that. It's just they're footballs. They're just fun to catch, and they're just great to see, and it's just a beautiful fish. And but yeah, I mean, 119 species. The Mississippi River is full of them. Whatever you like to catch, and then off the Mississippi River in the main channels and those backwaters, we have all these freshwater streams that are naturally spring fed. A constant 52 degrees, crystal clear waters running through the coulees and the valleys that are just chock full of trout. I mean, absolutely chock full of trout. So if you're a trout angler, there's more miles of freshwater trout, cold water trout streams here in the driftless area than anywhere in the country. So it's another, again, it's so diverse and such a great fishery for everything. It's a pretty cool place. Absolutely.
So you guys in Wisconsin are somewhat ahead of the rest of the country in that unique predicament that everything is opened up for business now, including camping, lodging, almost everything. What events are coming up for La Crosse for fishing wise now that the state has opened up and loosed or has let go of the restrictions? Is everything still on as planned?
So it's kind of a unique situation, absolutely, with what Wisconsin has going on. But every municipality and local county and everything has actually their own kind of set up their own plans and everything. So the biggest event that we have coming up in June is the high school national fishing championships, bass fishing championships by put on by the Student Angler Federation, which is part of the Bass Federation. You know, last year it was down at Florence, Alabama, and it was at Pickwick, and you know they had over 400 boats. There's 2 kids and a boat captain in each boat. So just a huge tournament, 4-day event. They practice for 4 days prior to that, so it's an absolutely huge event. Obviously, with everything going on, travel isn't going to be quite the same. We're not going to have the same turnout. I'm expecting 200, 250 boats still. But it's been an absolute process, and you know, literally every day, every minute is changing on what we can or what we can't do. We never really know, in all honesty. But I think as of yesterday, I figured out how we can actually still host this event. You know, our local municipalities put on an ordinance or a guideline that they weren't letting any facilities be used with 10 or more people in, whether it's a park or any city facilities. And so obviously our weigh-ins, there's more staff at the weigh-in than there are, you know, than 10. So it was kind of an interesting situation, but I was able to figure out putting it on, hosting it in different locations. And so that big event is going to be really our first one, first major event that'll be kicking off the season for us. There's some smaller, more local events and fishing tournaments coming up before that, but that'll really be the first one. And you know, we really hope to set the tone and have a lot of things in order with you know, how we're going to social distance and the guidelines and practicing you know, all the safety issues that we need to get through. And only one kid at a time is coming up with their bags to weigh in the fish, and they're doing it in flights so that you know, we're keeping it only to, you know, 20 teams at a time, but only one person per team is coming up with a bag of fish. The tanks are more spread out. Only really 2 people are at a tank, one on each side, and they actually have a divider down the middle, like a plexiglass divider. So there's no, you know, kind of like you see in at restaurants and everything else now. So really, and then spectator wise, we're keeping it absolutely to a minimum. If you're, you know, it's really just parents, and that's really about it. But it's all live webcast and stuff too. So we're really pushing to really not even come to the weigh-in if you really don't have to. We would appreciate that. But if you do come in, we have extra security on hand. We're gonna, you know, if your kids or whatever get done weighing in, we're gonna ask them to go so that the next parents can get in there and do that. Because it's important to us to set the tone and show how we can responsibly host an event of this magnitude, and so that we can continue to host all these other events throughout the year safely and responsibly. So really, that's the first one coming up, and then obviously we have, you know, the Hobie BOS, the Bass Opens Kayak Series is July 11th and 12th. We got the Wisco Bass Series, which is actually the state championships for Bass Nation, which is a qualifier then for the classic event, the kayak championships in conjunction with the classic next year. Mm-hmm. You know, then we actually have the August 15th is the Bass Nation Kayak Series too. So we actually are hosting that one as well.
See ya. I'll see ya that one.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're not coming to a couple more, man. That Hobie BOS is going to be a good one too. That's going to be a lot of fun, and I think a great group of guys and girls are going to be up here fishing that event. That's going to be a lights out show as always, you know. So, but yeah, I mean, we got a lot, and then just recently too. I don't know if you've seen that too, but the super tournament that Major League Fishing and FLW's put together, their super tournaments, which is 209 anglers. It's 56 of the Major League Fishing guys joining the pro circuit of FLW for 3 events, and La Crosse is one of those stops, you know. So just really exciting, all the stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah. It'll be a great one, you know. Edwin Evers won the Red Crest Championship here last year, and so he's excited to come back, you know, and they obviously weren't on schedule to do that, but now they are, and so yeah, I think they're going to put on another great show for us, and it's all going to be live webcast every day on the water, the weigh-ins, everything else. So that one right now, there's no expo or anything planned, but we're kind of just same thing, day by day we take it and see what plays out here going forward, and you know, at the end of July and into August as that event unfolds, to see if we can have spectators and things like that. But yeah, we're just excited to get some fishing underway.
Yeah, rightfully so. And kudos to you for taking on the challenge of trying to make this as safe as possible with everything going on in the world, nowadays. I could only imagine how much of an undertaking it is, but knowing you personally, you're the kind of person who will put the foot forward to make sure it happens. So hats off to you for that, man. That's awesome.
I appreciate that very much. Yeah, there's literally up until yesterday, it was the last call before we pulled the plug on the event and had to cancel it. And the last call got a little light at the end of the tunnel after. I mean, I don't know what, plan RSTVXW. I don't know where I'm at. There's just last week I was pulling my hair out trying to figure out how to host this thing, and and we had great guidelines set up and everything, but finally, found a little glimmer of hope and made it happen. I mean, we were again ready to pull the plug with both. The Student Angler Federation was ready to send out their press release and send it to all the athletes and everything like that. And I said, let me make one more call. I have an idea, and we got lucky and are able to make it work by again being really creative and being really safe in everything we do. And again, we're going to make sure that is the case and be even more so, like I said, so that we can really lead the way, hopefully, in how to host an event like that. So that other communities and other locations, and as well as us throughout the rest of the summer, can do it safely and responsibly. So,
right on. All right. Well, we talked about fishing. Let's talk about exploring La Crosse. Let's talk about I'm taking my family, I'm taking my friends, or others are taking their family and friends. So this next portion of the segment is going to be focusing on what La Crosse has to offer off the water. So I'm going to start here with this. And this was kind of interesting when I was out there. I want your perspective on 3 restaurants that you would recommend to anybody coming up to La Crosse. It doesn't necessarily have to be La Crosse. It could be, it's the La Crosse area, because I know we went further north and south. But if you had to give your recommendations, what would they be?
Well, that's a great question. Man, it's tough. There's so many great restaurants in this area. It's really difficult.
I know some are paying you off, so it's okay.
Yeah, right. I wish that were the case. Paying me off in steaks, man. I wish. But, for sure. If for me personally, when I go somewhere and spend a weekend somewhere, I always seek out one higher end restaurant that I want to spend a little extra money on and get just a superb meal. And so the one restaurant that I would do that at would be the Waterfront here in downtown La Crosse. The Waterfront is an exceptional restaurant. It's first of all, it's reasonable for lunch and stuff like that, and great lunch, and they have great specials every night of the week. But it's just a beautiful location right on the Mississippi River in downtown La Crosse. And then by far the best steak I've ever had in my life came from there. It was like a 45-day aged steak that, I mean, it just melted in your mouth, and the flavor, I can't even begin to explain how good this steak was. And escargot, I never once would have said I was going to ever eat escargot, and then I tried it there, and it was just unbelievable. And like just literally everything there. I've never had anything there that's not been just like out of this world good. So for a higher end restaurant here in town, the Waterfront, no question about it. And the location, it's beautiful. Eat out on the patio, stuff like that. Kind of sticking with that theme of the location, I would go up to Onalaska. They have there's a couple of great restaurants up there too. Now I'm second guessing myself, but Red Pines, I would say, is probably the next one. It's just the same thing. It's it's a little more sandwiches and great homemade pizza and things like that, but it's right on Lake Onalaska, so another beautiful setting. Just a cool environment, a little more of a bar feel, but they kind of have restaurant room and everything, and then its own patio that's heated in the winter or open during the summer. That's again right on the lake, which is gorgeous, and just great food. Again, the fish is phenomenal for Friday fish. Again, haven't had anything there that's not been absolutely delicious. And then lastly, I don't know. Oh, it's tough. I would probably say Buzzard Billy's would be the other one. It's downtown La Crosse again. It's I always get the same thing because, well, their appetizers are unbelievable. They have, alligator is phenomenal. It's a Cajun restaurant, but all the flavors are just mind-blowing flavors on every bite. Their armadillo eggs are just phenomenal. It's like a bacon-wrapped sausage with, jalapeno popper inside that is just like, again, out of this world good. It's a Cajun restaurant, and like I said, I've had, I don't know how many visitors have come into our office and have said, I've been to Louisiana, I've eaten Cajun food down there, and Buzzard Billy's is by far the best Cajun food we've ever had. And I can't compare it. I've only ever had Buzzard Billy's. I've never been to Louisiana or been able to compare it. But man, that food is good, and I always get their it's just this huge chicken breast that is deep fried and then covered in like a seafood gravy. It's a seafood chicken au gratin, it's called, and it's just a seafood gravy with crab and shrimp and crawfish, and oh my God, and it's terrible for you. It's a heart attack every bite, but my God, is it good. And yeah, I'm gonna have to go there after work now. Thanks, Jason.
My goodness, I mean, that's quite the contrary to what I had when I was up there. I went to I thought going to River Rats was delicious. Now I gotta check these out the next time I was there.
And River Rats is a phenomenal, same thing. Like I said, there's so many great places. It's so hard. Everybody's just got their own little spin on thing, and River Rats is phenomenal. And how you found that, I don't even know. It's such a little hole in the wall back in. It's like an alley. It's literally back in an alley, it's super cool. I love that place. But good for you for finding it, because that's a neat place right on the water too, and really good food.
Yeah, we went there, and then the other restaurant we went to was in Onalaska. It was literally at the stoplight where the Onalaska Omni Center is. It's an Italian restaurant at the at the turnabout.
Yeah,
Angelini's. That was it. Yeah, that was actually pretty good too. When we all went there one night after, I think it was the first day of the tournament, we went there afterwards. Yeah. And that wound up being good.
Yeah, that's really good. He's straight from Chicago. If you talk to him, you'll know he's a Chicago, and you talk to he's blunt, and and he's just a Chicago guy, and but man, the food is it's excellent. They make a lot of great food. They have a little like a smaller thing downtown as well. That's like their sandwiches and hot dogs and stuff called Babos, and it's fantastic too. And but yeah, their food's excellent. And man, if you ever get a chance to go there again, get their pizza if you didn't, but they do like a Philly pizza. Or like the hot beef, like a Chicago hot beef stuff. But they do it on a pizza.
Jardiniere and everything on there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm making going home hard for you now, because you're gonna have to decide for when you leave here.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. Like I said, when I was up there, those were the two restaurants that really stuck out to me. The third, though, was kind of it was kind of during the middle of lunch hour. Me and you, and then the rest of the group, we wound up meeting there. I want to say that was I can't think of it off the top of my head. Do you remember that little? It was like a bar restaurant, right just south of the Omni Center.
Yep, that was Blue Moon.
Blue Moon. Yep. That's it. Yep.
Yeah, and Blue Moon's another good restaurant too. They make a lot of great food too. Absolutely. I mean, like I said, it's tough. There's just so many great restaurants. There's not a lot of bad ones. If you get a chance, now I'm gonna spin it a little bit. If you get a chance to get breakfast here, I know it's tough when you're fishing in tournaments and stuff like that. But if you're here with the family and have an extra day or spend the extra night or whatever, there's a couple of phenomenal breakfast place that just yeah, I'm a breakfast guy, so I absolutely love breakfast. My favorite meal of the day. Faisy's downtown makes just incredible, breakfast food. But then we have a place called the Breakfast Club and Pub right downtown in La Crosse too. That the ambiance and just the unique setting. It's all movies based on it's the same director, and I'm blanking on his name right now, but the guy he did the Breakfast Club movie and Cool Runnings and Canadian Bacon and all those movies, and so the theme is all that same stuff. Their menu is the same. It's got funny names on all the items on the menu that go with all the movies, and they're playing the different movies and all the time on the TVs in there. And they have like 80s music on MTV type of thing going nonstop, and the food is great too. It's just a unique place. It's a cool setting. It's fun and great food too. And it's just fun, something else to check out. They have food all day, but their breakfast is really good. And they make just a Reuben omelet that is phenomenal too. So that's what I get. Same thing again. Every time I go there, I get the Reuben omelet because it's fantastic.
Awesome. And the guy who you're looking for, what was his name? Hughes. John Hughes. Hughes.
John Hughes. Yep. Thank you. Yep.
John Hughes. That's your man.
Yep, that's the one. Thank you. Yep, everything is John Hughes themed. So every movie is all of his movies based. So. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's on my checkout list when I head back up there in August too, because I love breakfast as well.
Yeah.
You know what I love as much as breakfast? Beer.
I'm jealous. I'm still at work.
So let's talk breweries, man. I know there's quite a few that's up that way. Would you care to elaborate on some of them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, tried and true, been around for probably the most amount of time in terms of craft breweries is Pearl Street Brewery. Been around for 20 years now. Their most popular beers like the Downtown Browns Brown Ale, absolutely, delicious beer. They do a lot of IPAs and things like that. Cool place to check out. They just started canning. They've done bottles for forever. But they just started canning. They have a pretty cool new beer that they just started doing about 2 years ago now, that they call a shitty light beer, it's literally the name is called
I had that
light beer. Yeah.
What'd you think? Did have that. Oh, that was that. It's funny. It's like if Bush and let's say Bush and Stella were to make a child, that's shitty.
I can get that. Yeah. It's a good beer, and so that's a kind of a cool story. The shitty light beer was made because all the brew fests and stuff like that. So the brewmaster was at these brew fests, and they're pouring beers and stuff, and everyone would always come up and say, do you have any light beers? I want to try light beer. And then they don't make. So the brewmaster would literally say, I don't make shitty light beer. I don't make shitty light beer. I don't make shitty light beer. and so finally they got to talking about it, and they're like, well, let's come up with a beer called shitty light beer. It's not actually a light beer, but that's what they call it. It's definitely a smoother drink. It's definitely, I think you kind of hit the nail right on the head. It's got a little more flavor than your normal light beers, but still very smooth and has more flavor and definitely isn't a shitty beer. It's
For sure.
it's pretty good. So yeah, that's a good beer. And fun story to talk about. And just a cool place. They have shuffleboard and arcade games and just really neat place and cool brewery. And they do brewery tours and everything too. But so there's one great one, Turtle Stack Brewery right downtown. It might be my. It's hard to say. It's hard to pick a favorite for me, in all honesty. There's just so many, you know. It just depends on what they're brewing at the time. But they just making a lot of great beers. Cool place again, right downtown. They don't distribute or anything. It's just there in their everything in that building there. The 608 Brewing Company is just on the north side of the downtown area, which is phenomenal. They have a couple sour beers that they've been making that might be my favorite sour beers that I've ever had. It's just they call it strawberries and cream. That during this quarantine, I may have had a few too many of those sour beers from time to time, but they're delicious and had to support them, during close time. So. Those are excellent. Just out Alaska, then there's a winery and a brewery that are together, and it's called Lost Island Wine. They make great wine, and then their brewery is the Skeleton Brew Crew, and Skeleton Crew Brew. I always mix those up. Skeleton Crew Brew, and the same thing. Just good beers, neat place to check out. Very tropical kind of atmosphere and cool area. And then so breweries wise, those are, some of the really good ones. We got the new distillery right in downtown too that makes phenomenal drinks, and the food is excellent as well. A little unique, take a little more hipster on their food and stuff like that, but man, is it good. Definitely unique food, and they're it's all good stuff, man. It's tough to say. And then if you're a wine drinker,
you're going right into it.
Yeah.
Perfect. You're transitioning into my next questions.
That's perfect. I was looking at your notes, so I can see it from here, right? So, but yeah, so the wineries. I should just direct you. We have a thing on our website at Explore La Crosse, the craft beverage trail that we give away prizes for and stuff like that. Tickets to our beer, wine, and cheese festival that we host in May, in April every year, at the end of April. Unfortunately, we weren't able to host it this year, of course, but we will again next year, and it'll be back and better than ever. But the craft beverage trail has all this information on it and the stops and everything. You stop in and you get your punch or whatever it is, but it has all these places and the wineries, again, that's local Wisconsin grapes that are grown right at each site. Beautiful locations, just the atmospheres again are gorgeous. Sit out on the patio. A lot of times there's music. Branches Winery on just south of La Crosse here they have a brick stone oven that makes incredible pizzas, and Elmaro Vineyard towards Trempolo is award-winning wines every year. Nationally award-winning wines every year. They've just added on to their facility, and I did a tour of that, and it's just absolutely unbelievable what kind of stuff they're pumping out of that facility. There's a winery here right on the north side of town that called DNA Vintners, that her specialty is cranberry wines, because she works with the Warrens, Toma, Wisconsin Rapids area, just our neighbors here to the east. And she makes all kinds of different cranberry wines and makes award-winning cranberry wines and has a tasting room and all her stuff there. And it's excellent, absolutely delicious stuff. And so, yeah, there's no shortage of craft beverages for you, your wife, your families. Leave the kids at home with grandma for the night or something like that, or back at the hotel and go enjoy some beverages. You have a good time for sure.
Wow. So I really think now I can convince Olivia to come with me to La Crosse, because it's always, you're just going to fish, and I'm like, there's other things to do, and now this really seals the deal on it. So yeah, I think not only fishing but a couples retreat up that way is in the near future as well.
Absolutely, and hit some of the attractions. I mean, man, there's a lot of other cool stuff to do. You know, we have an axe throwing bar right downtown that is a great couples night, and they also own an escape room, so you can do a deal with them. You know, you do an escape room and an axe throwing, and man, that's fun. If you haven't done that, that's a lot of fun. It's pretty cool. So there's a lot of cool date nights. You can get out on the La Crosse Queen, which is a paddle wheel boat right here off the Mississippi River that takes you up and down the river and does either historic tours, pizza tours, you know, or just a social tour up the river, you know, anywhere from about an hour long to they have a much longer where they actually lock up, about a 2.5 hour tour as well. But man, there's just so many cool attractions and things to do, and hiking trails and biking. If you're a bicyclist, the mountain biking is phenomenal, or road cycling, or the rails to trails. So all these really nice flat paved or hard cinder paved trails that go from here to, literally you can go all the way to Chicago on trails. So it's just, you know, there's a lot to do, and just really great area to check out and bring your family to do all this stuff too.
You know, it's awesome that you mentioned that. What is it called? So for a lot of like the charity rides that, you know, go on, you know, they originate in La Crosse, and they'll span through Wisconsin down to Chicago. I know some go as far down as like Nashville on those trails. So it's quite the distance where those bike paths go. But I'm glad you touched on that, because a lot of people don't know, but I do trail riding as well. So
Nice.
taking the bike up there to explore is something. I see, you know, those bluffs, man. Those bluffs look beautiful to go riding through.
Yeah, they really are, and I mean, our mountain bike trails keep getting ever expanded, and you know, we have a national trail builder, Aaron Rodgers, not the Packer quarterback, but Aaron Rodgers from Duluth, Minnesota, who is nationally renowned with rock solid trail building. He comes in. We have a contract with him to keep building the Outdoor Recreation Alliance. Has a goal of 50 miles in 5 years, and so they're constantly working with the city and the Park and Rec and community partners to continue to build those trails and those mountain bike trails, to not just in La Crosse, but in La Crescent, Minnesota, right across the river, and on Alaska, and just this whole region, to really put this area apart in terms of mountain biking from really anywhere else in the Midwest. So it's awesome, and like, from beginner to absolute expert, there's something for everyone on those mountain bike trails. And I mean expert. There's some videos out there, and I've been on the trails myself, and there's some stuff that, I'm a thrill seeker, man, but I won't touch a couple of those things.
You know, there 2 episodes ago, I interviewed Erin Mathis from Utah, and I was telling her, you know, when I was down in Moab, I went mountain biking out there. It was 4 days of trail riding, and then 3 nights of primitive camping, and it was awesome. But man, because you're going on black diamond paths down there, I took some wipeouts, man, and they weren't fun.
Nice.
As much as I loved it.
That would be fun. Yeah, that sounds like a fun trip, and I mean, Moab, what a beautiful area too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we touched on it briefly. We're talking about vineyards. Let's talk about bars. If you had to give 3 bars for, you leave the kids with grandma and you go out, what 3 bars would you tell people to go check out?
Did you say this is who I would tell grandma to go check out. Is that what you said?
Oh wow. The lag that's a pretty bad lag to have that come out that way. No. You're leaving the kids home with grandma. You guys are going out for the night.
Oh.
What bars are you checking out?
Yeah, that's very different. I was gonna say, yeah, yeah, those are two very opposite ends of the spectrum.
The grandma's bars are called supper clubs in Wisconsin, okay?
Exactly. Oh, geez. Oh, man.
I'll throw
You
mine
know,
out.
and
River Rats.
yeah, River Rats is a great one. There's no question about that. That's a fun bar. That's a cool bar for sure. Howie's is a pretty cool bar on the it's more towards campus area of La Crosse. That's a really neat bar. Um, Great sports bar, tons of TVs, great food, great drinks, good atmosphere, pretty cool place. Um, if you know if my wife has any say in this, she loves country music and likes to stomp her boots a little bit.
Okay.
She's gonna pick Broncos for sure and right downtown, which is just kind of a dumpy place, but it's fun, man. It's really fun.
I'm in
There's
that
literally
same boat
nothing
with
in
you,
it.
brother.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's literally nothing in it except a couple dartboards and cheap Bush Light, and it's a good time with great country music. It's a lot of fun as the night gets a little longer. It's typically one of the last places we'll stop at for that reason. And if I was still in college or a little younger still, the last one I would pick, which everyone needs to check out if they've never been here and if you're in a little more party mood, is Shooters downtown, which is I mean, it's just same thing. It's a hole in the wall bar, but incredibly strong drinks mixed. Literally has the 2010 and the 1996 Packer games from the Super Bowl championships on repeat on the only two TVs that are in there, and they're still box TVs and old as can be. It's dark. He wears a headlamp, pouring drinks. I mean, it's a kind of a unique. Just again, if you're partying at the end of the night, that's where I would suggest hitting up at least for one drink to check it out. And they're always playing 90s dance music, which is so fun. Places just hopping. So that's a good time for sure. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, kind of all over the spectrum on that one.
Those all sound like places you'd find me at. So all right, so the next morning comes, everyone's hungover. We gotta take the kids somewhere. What are some family fun places to go to in the La Crosse area?
For sure. So a couple. I mean, we have a trampoline park here in town, which is awesome. It's just a couple of years old now, and just phenomenal. They have like obstacle course, kind of that Ninja Warrior type of courses in there, as well as all the trampoline parks, big slides. So it's just a really unique area there. Fun place for the kids that can, hopefully really tucker them out pretty good while you guys can nurse your wounds a little bit from the night before. And then we also, depends on kind of the age of the kids and stuff, but there's a children's museum in right downtown La Crosse that's phenomenal. A lot of really cool interactive exhibits going on all the time. They're constantly changing their exhibits. They've had everything from all kinds of cool dinosaur stuff that comes in to and national like exhibits that come in to the Blue Man Group, like really cool musical stuff that was going on, which I went out and checked that out. I do have a kid now, but I didn't at the time. I went and checked that out myself because I thought it was super cool and it was so fun. I had a great time playing with all that stuff. So that's a really unique place too. Great for the kids and the family, and those would probably be the two that I would definitely pick first, and then if after that it's really up to you what else you like to do and what your interests are, because again, there's something for everybody. There's the art scene, a lot of cool museums and sculptures throughout town and some different kind of self-guided things you can do, or go to the pump house and check out the great art gallery there, or check one of the live shows going on at the community theater, beautiful community theater, Weber Center, that's right downtown on the Mississippi River, state-of-the-art facility, beautiful place too. So again, a lot of different options there. Just kind of depends what else you like to do. But for sure, the trampoline park and the kids museum, children's museum, would definitely be on the top of that list for sure.
Awesome. So for everyone listening, I hope you guys realize how much of a hidden gem La Crosse is right now, because I'm ready just to go up there right now and just hang out. So can you, just for some listeners for perspective, can you give a little bit of time travel wise, from either, from all directions, from the south, north, east, and west, just so people have an idea of travel going there?
Absolutely. So if you're from, one thing is we have an airport that literally connects to Minneapolis, Chicago, and Detroit with daily flights. So literally from anywhere in the world, you can get to La Crosse via our airport. It's a really nice, beautiful airport. See some good flights every day. So not a big airport by any means, but it's a very nice, good, trustworthy airport that your flights are always in and out of, no issues typically. So the airports, again, we can get anywhere. Minneapolis is only 2.5 hours away. Madison is less than 2 hours. Milwaukee is just under 3 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours away. Chicago is 4.5, depending again where you're at in the Chicagoland area. But yeah, it's not. I mean, those would be the big ones I would pick. To the east side of the state, if you're going over to Green Bay, it's again about 3 hour drive over to that side of the state. Down to Dubuque and that kind of thing is about 2.5 hours. So really, we're kind of just really smack dab in the center of, on the west side of Wisconsin, right on the Mississippi River, bordering Minnesota, 20 miles from Iowa. Literally, we have a lookout here right in La Crosse called Granddad Bluff, where you can see all 3 states and across the river and across the valley and overlooks the city. It's beautiful. So it's just really the tri-state area, kind of in the middle of everything. It's just a great center point for kind of everything. One of the major hubs on the Mississippi River. So yeah, I mean, those would probably be the big ones, and definitely not too far of a drive from really anywhere for a quick. If you want to do a day trip or spend the night, which I would suggest, there's too much cool stuff to do and breweries and stuff like that. You don't want to go home afterwards. You got to spend the night and enjoy it. So absolutely.
Awesome. Well, there you guys have it for that part of our segment. I hope that gives you guys insight. But now we're going to move on to one of my favorite parts of this segment. It's time for Game of True Confessions. So I hope you thought of your questions. And I'm going to let you tell the story, and I'm going to tell you whether that's BS or if it's true.
Sure. So I had to think about this quite a bit. I didn't know how PG I needed to keep it, so I decided to keep it pretty PG. But I told you before I was I'm a thrill seeker. So anyway, I've loved all that kind of fun stuff, like I was telling you, mountain biking, things like that. But I did a parachute jump a couple of times, and then I got to the point where you could do it on your own type of thing. And the one time I've ever done that, then my chute didn't open. And so I had to do the backup, and I mean, that freaked me out. That's why it's the only time I've done the solo parachute.
That's actually that's very believable, because I know somebody else who that's happened to, and they won't ever get back in a plane. BS?
So you're going BS or truth?
I'm going that you're telling me the truth on that, brother.
Nah, I'm BSing you.
Ah, damn.
Never parachuted in my life. I would love to. I'm jacked to do it, but I haven't done it.
Yeah, I know somebody, and I actually know somebody who that's happened to, and they're afraid of flying now. So
I don't blame them. That would be terrifying. That absolutely.
all right, well, I got one for you.
Yeah, let's hear
I
it.
hope this. All right, so it was October of 2019, and I was in La Crosse, Wisconsin. It was day 2 of the Trail Series tournament, and the night before we went out. We had some drinks, but nobody got crazy because we had to be out on the water super early. So we launched. We launched at, you probably know the location of the beach that's right across from like the condo areas. That's right next to the airport. So we launched there.
Yep.
Yep. And so I found a prime spot. I'm talking like, I'm going to pull some bass out of here. Like, this is going to be the ticket kind of spot, right? So pull up to the spot, and I start jigging. All right, cool. All of a sudden, man, I feel my stomach go, and then it goes, and I go, crap, this is not going to be good. So, in my midst of trying not to panic, because it is going to happen, and whether I'm ready for it or not, it's gonna happen. So I start pedaling around, and I find like this marshy area, this little backwater cove. I'm like, oh, okay, I think I'm gonna be okay here. And no, because it's the other side of all the condominiums that are over there. I'm like, so now I'm starting to sweat. I'm getting like jittery because I have no idea what the hell I'm gonna do. But this is not gonna wind up good. So I keep going further into this marsh. I'm like, there better be no snakes, nothing back here. And I go to put I take my paddle and I put it in the water. I'm like, this is like 2 foot of water. There's no way this is gonna happen right here. And I'm like at the shallowest point. I'm like, oh God. So I'm like, well, maybe this could happen off the side of the kayak. So drop trout and I can work. No, that's not going to happen there either. All right. Well, the next and the only option I have left, there's a nice full 20-ounce cup of coffee that I wound up, I threw the coffee out the cup, and in the end, it wound up being a 20-ounce shit, and it all made it in there. And unfortunately for the people who might have been hiking in the woods, because I wasn't keeping it in the boat, I chucked that thing right back onto land somewhere. So this was my horrible experience in La Crosse, and I'll always remember the 20-ounce shit. And for those out there too who kayak, the first thing I learned, there was a wise man who once said, never leave shore without baby wipes in your kayak. And whoever that man was, thank you.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've not yet done that, which I need to. I believe the story wholeheartedly, because I know the feeling that you're talking about. I've never had to get to that point, but my goodness, I can understand it. But the only thing that I would even question is that you were able to keep it in the 20-ounce cup. I feel like there's no way that's not a 24-ounce or 32. So I'll say I believe it.
That is 100% true. You can ask Brian Sheeler. That was one of the most horrifying moments of my life.
Story. That's a real BS story. That's not BS.
Right, exactly. I legit thought it was going to be the outcome was going to be a lot worse, and it wound up being just fine.
Hell.
So, well, folks, there you have it. There's the 20-ounce crap story that I told I'd save one day for the podcast, and you just happen to be my lucky victim to share the story with.
Lucky me. And lucky LD listeners.
Oh, yeah. So, in closing, do you got any sponsors or anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Well, first and foremost, obviously, we're talking because of Explore La Crosse. So obviously, everyone check out the website. Every ounce of information to come visit this beautiful area. You know, from hotels to attractions to the restaurants we talked about, and so many more, are right on our website, explorelacrosse.com. The Facebook page, we're doing sweepstakes and giveaways all the time. Check out our Facebook, Explore La Crosse Facebook page. And then if you're looking just for fishing stuff, we have our own fishing page too called Fish La Crosse, so be sure to check that out. So again, obviously, that's first and foremost is all of those. Again, then for me personally with fishing, definitely have some people I always love to shout out. They support me. I always want to support them back. And if anybody gets a chance, go check out some of these great groups and organizations as well. Blackfish Gear makes some of the best rain gear on the market, no question about it, and great UPF high, great sun shirts, things like that. Actually, we're required to wear masks in the office now, so my buff is my Blackfish. That's my mask that I wear around for any of the places, including the office and everywhere else that we got to go. So that if you need one yet, check it out. But so Blackfish gear is phenomenal. My ALX rods, love those things. Phenomenal rods. I can't say enough about those. Obviously, a Bonafide kayak, Team Bonafide. Again, everybody's different, but the Bonafide for me, no question about it, best vessel I've ever been in for the way I fish. Yak Attack gear, obviously, is all the great accessories, everything. You can't say enough about them. Raymarine, whenever I do use the fish finder sonar, getting on some new lakes or anything like that, or exploring new waters, the Raymarine obviously is always super helpful and everything along those lines. And powered obviously by Dakota Lithium, I think best battery that I've ever used, and it's so versatile. I use it in all my ice fishing and everything else, and that thing, I swear to God, it doesn't die. It's unbelievable. Lure Lock makes cool, the gel, tackle storage, phenomenal stuff. And just came out, Tacticam just came out with a fisheye. It's like a GoPro, but cheaper and made specifically for fishing. $199, comes with a head mount and takes incredible video, very versatile. It's waterproof up to 30 feet in the water. Just app to your phone. You can do so much with it. You can actually, do all your videos and do some editing right from your phone with multiple cameras, save the videos, post them right from there to Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Just a really cool camera that I helped actually, with some of the development and testing and the prototypes and everything. Literally, they just came out and they're phenomenal. So definitely check out Tacticam. So again, thanks to all those guys. They're just great products and great groups to work with. And so couldn't do everything without them. So.
And after this is over, I'm going to check out Tacticam.
Yeah. Dude, they're sweet, man. You're not going to be disappointed. They actually just posted a video. I shared some video content that I was getting for them with one of their prototypes that they just shared yesterday, I think. So you get to see me on their page a couple of times if you check out their Instagram or their Facebook too. So yeah, nice. See my ugly mug once again.
All right. Well, with that being said, thank you so much for coming on, talking about La Crosse. I appreciate you, and I'm very sure our listeners are going to appreciate what you had to offer to us. And guys, please continue to listen. Check out the bracket series for the PNF Angler of the Pod. tomorrow, Sunday, we're going to have matchups, and for the next 3 weeks to follow, there are going to be some good matchups coming up as well. I'm kind of scoping out my area. I'm going up against Mr. Brad Hicks, and I think maybe I might have something up my sleeve, just maybe. So tune in and see, and you guys, we'll see you off the water. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode on Paddle and Fin. Don't forget to go check out our website at paddle_and_fin.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel at Paddle and Fin. If you got a question, comment, want to hear from a future guest on a future episode, feel free to email us at paddle_and_fin@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Paddle and Fin on Facebook and Instagram. Shout out to our show supporters, Angler. The Angler button and app just makes for a better time on the water and creates a virtual logbook for every fishing outing out on the water. Shout out to Rocktown Adventures, located in Northern Illinois, for all your kayaking, camping, and hiking needs. TRC Covers, protect your investment. Catch Products, shout out to Catch Products. Go to catchproducts.com and put the Paddle and Fin logo directly on your catch board. Shout out to Jigmasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com, use promo code PNF20 and save 20% on all your jig and tackle needs.